For those of you who are new here, I know that over 80% of you are unsubscribed. This is a channel where I help get your lawn from brown and disgusting to green and beautiful in just under a year. I've worked in the industry for over 3 years, so please feel free to subscribe. I will help you get the best lawn on the block.
You go and can't without remorse, without heart in your head, your eye.
For those of you wondering, this is the state of the sprinkler system currently. Doing some upgrades from some problems we had from the initial install. Full video coming on that soon. How's it going, eh? Welcome back to the Great Green North. Welcome back to the long anticipated finale of the irrigation install video, part 4. Now I know it has been a while since I have recorded a sprinkler install video, but this is the finale, part 4. There was a couple of changes we had to make the system function better and look more aesthetically pleasing, I guess you could say. So we made those changes. So without further ado, number 1, we're going to be showing you the changes in this video. Number 2, we're going to be talking about my review, how the system has been running, what I think of it, and then number 3, we're going to tell you the schedule that I plan to have the system running. So without further ado, let's get into it. As you can see, the system did run last night. Still a little damp in here. Okay, so here it is. Change number 1, the biggest change that we did to the system, as you can see, if I move this host out of the way, is as you can see, we moved the controller. So the controller was up here, originally mounted with all the things. I'll show a picture of it. However, the stress on the lines that were bending on a 45-degree angle into the tap caused the lines in the controller to actually break. So in order to keep that from happening again, we decided, in order for you to have a cleaner look, we would just have this pipe on the tap here coming right off the deck, and then under here we added an irrigation control box. So for those of you who don't know, these are a big black box, plastic box that you bury underground. They got a lid here. And when you open up the lid, you normally fill them with gravel or some sort of substance that's not soil, that's not going to get all muddy. And down in there, as you can see, the irrigation controller is there, and we added these 90s to put less stress on these angles. So as you can see, everything is nice and contained in this box. It looks really nice. It can actually be set a lot easier now and controlled. And then once you set it all up and set all your timers and you're good and everything's running, you just go ahead and you take the lid and you just throw the lid back on. And you can get up and you can look. As you can see, when those 2 plants fill in, you won't even be able to see it. So this looks a lot cleaner and a lot nicer, and just kind of keeps the clutter out of the way, makes it look a lot more tidy, as well as it doesn't have a lot of stress on those lines. So that was the first major change. A little bit, as I said, was aesthetics. It looks a lot nicer, and the other thing's functionality. It works a lot better. I personally like it a lot better than the other one. It keeps things from breaking in the future. So without further ado, let's look at the extra hose line that I added in and how we finished that up. So I talked about in the video how I added an extra hose line because I had a little bit of extra pipe. So that hose line comes out right here. And as you can see, this was the bend that I was talking about before that was putting stress. This is actually the old timer. As you can see, that's the broken inlet. So here we have the line, the extra line that we put in. So this line taps right in here, and when you turn this on, it will push water up to the top of the hill where we added the sprocket. So let's go check that out. Okay, so as you can see up in here, this is our sprocket that we've added in here. So as you can see, we got this cedar 4x4 here that we just had it lying around. So we're probably going to put a nice cap on it to make it look really nice, but this is the sprocket. It came from down there at the deck. It's up here at the top, and we just ran the hose up the front, put some nice clamps on it, and then now we have a tap up here that we can turn on, and when the water's turned on down there, water will come flushing out of here. The idea in the future is maybe to mount a hose reel on the side of this, so you can reel your whole hose up, hang it up, and then you can water all these gardens up here, because we can water all the way down that way, all the way down that way. We don't have to worry about lugging a hose from the house all the way up here to get water. We can just take it right off this sprocket, which is so much nicer than what we used to have to do. So that's really happy. We kind of put it right off this path right here, so it's easy to access. So that's an update on the hose. That's what we were going for. So I think that is pretty much an update on everything that we have going that has been changed in the yard. There's only a few changes, but it did take a while just because of the COVID situation here. Getting parts and stuff took a while, but all those changes definitely recommend for those of you who are maybe looking at doing this. Definitely the irrigation control box, really good idea. For those of you who have larger yards, you're looking at putting in a hose sprocket in the back. I wouldn't regret it. It's not that expensive and it's pretty easy to do. So that's another thing I would recommend. If you're already doing all the digging, might as well do that at the same time. So next, let's just take quickly a look at the heads and how they have filled in around and what the damage is like from our install. There was a line right here that came through, and I believe somewhere up here is one head. So as you can see, the head is down in there, but the grass is pretty much filled in all around it. You can't really see the line anymore. The second head is down here somewhere. Here's our next head. As you can see, this one's down in here. This one really has had the grass filling around it. So all in all, not really seeing any damage anymore in the backyard. Everything filled in pretty quickly and pretty easily. So not really worried about that front. Definitely worth it for damage wise in the backyard. Okay, so next let's talk about functionality wise, what I think of it. So initial impressions, awesome. Way better than having to lug out sprinklers. I ran it for this week, as you guys can see right here. We're getting some heat stress coming in already. I have been struggling with the zone that's where I am sitting here, just because of the amount of heat we get. I really do struggle keeping the grass out of dormancy, which sucks. But hopefully when in the summer or when things progress, I will have a better time dealing with it. It's always the first heat wave of the year is really stressful on the lawn, because just, you know, everything, the lawn's been growing with lots of water, and now all of a sudden it doesn't have it and it doesn't really know what to do. As well, we are in a drought right now. We haven't had rain in about 4 weeks, so we're stressing it pretty good. So I have been doing some watering on localized dry spots, and I would expect this for any irrigation system. They're not perfect. At the golf course, we had irrigation systems on all of our greens, and we would still have to get out the fire hoses and water the localized dry spots. It's just the way it works. So irrigation's not perfect, but it is a lot better than doing it yourself with human error. It takes that human error aspect out of it, and I believe it definitely has saved water. At the moment, we're running it about every 3 days, which is what's kind of recommended. You run it every 3 days. Each zone runs for about an hour, which puts down about a ½ inch of water in the backyard. And I normally start it early in the morning, which is the best part. I can water early in the morning, which is the best time to water. By the time I wake up, all of the watering is done. The lawn looks great, and I don't even have to worry about it. That's really what I like about it. It's watering everything perfectly, and I don't even have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to lift a finger. It gives me more time to focus on other things that I would rather get done in the backyard, instead of constantly having to run sprinklers. And for the first time since I started irrigating 3 years ago, I have been able to irrigate the whole yard in one morning, which is really awesome, because last year I was doing a lot of watering at night, which it encourages disease, causes disease, but you know, eventually you get stuck with that's the only thing you can do. So that's what I've been doing, or I was doing for the previous year. So this is definitely a big improvement, and I think we'll be seeing that coming in the future. So definitely anybody who's on the fence about if an irrigation system is right for you, if you have been watering, spending a lot of time watering by hand, an irrigation system is right for you. It saves water, it's actually not that expensive, and in the end it does a pretty good job at dispersing the water compared to a sprinkler. And yeah, it's awesome. I would definitely do it again in a heartbeat. The other thing that's great about a sprinkler system is midday cool down. So in a really hot heat wave, when it's 40 degrees outside, the best thing to do to get your grass to not get so stressed is to do what is called a midday cool down, which is pretty much you run your sprinklers around 3-4 o'clock for about 5 minutes each. It just kind of takes the edge off and gives the grass a little bit of cool. Just like when you're walking around Canada's Wonderland or whatever amusement park you live by and they're running the misters, it's that exact same thing. It's going to cool you down, same as it's going to cool your lawn down. So that is what I like to do, and I have been doing in the last couple of heat waves we've had with the irrigation. Just run it for 15 minutes in the one zone that it's exposed to a lot of heat, and it just kind of gives that midday cool down and helps everything kind of get out of the stress a little bit better. So final thoughts on the irrigation system. It was definitely worth the money. For the money we paid, it has given us the results that we wanted. It has saved water. It is running amazing. We haven't had any issues other than the timer breaking, and it was definitely worth it. I would install it again within a heartbeat. It's working. It's awesome. It covers way more land than what I used to cover when I would water by hand. And we're not in the deep of the summer yet, so I can't tell you how it's going to fare through the summer, but hopefully we'll have a greener, nicer lawn than we did last year. So that's what I would say about the irrigation system. Definitely worth it. And for anybody who's on the fence about doing it, look into it again. Go back and watch all my videos, because it's definitely worth it. It will pay for itself, and it's awesome. You don't have to lift a finger. It waters everything with the perfect time in the morning. You're not wasting any water, and it really works well. So without further ado, there's my final impressions about the sprinkler system. Now let's talk about setting up your timer, setting up when's the best time to water, and how do you know how long to water. Okay, so the best time to water always is early in the morning. This time is the best because there's no sun, so you're not going to lose a lot of water to evaporation, as well as early in the morning. Your water pressure in your city is normally higher because not a lot of people are using water, and early in the morning you're not going to have problems with disease and fungus as that water sits in the lawn as if you'd water overnight. Now, that's not saying that watering overnight is going to cause disease and fungus, and I did it for years, never really had any major problems. However, watering over the night increases your risk of disease and fungus. So without further ado, watering in the morning is the best time to water, sometime between 4 and about 9, 10 in the morning. Best time to put your water. When I water my backyard, it runs from about 4 to 7 in the morning, and that's the best time to put down my 1/2 inch in the backyard. Now, you've heard me talking about putting down a 1/2 inch of water. This means you're putting down a 1/2 inch of water per square inch of your backyard or of your yard. So the way to take this, go get a tuna can or a small Tupperware container, put it out in your yard, just in the grass, run your sprinklers until that tuna can or that Tupperware container has filled up to a 1/2 inch of water. That's going to tell you how long it's going to take for you to put down a 1/2 inch of water if you time the length it takes to fill up that tuna can. And then next time you go and do it, all you have to do is just rinse and repeat. Take that time, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, whatever it is, and play that when you fill up your tuna can, and that will tell you how long it takes for you to put down a 1/2 inch of water in your backyard. So that is the 2 key things to remember when you're watering. The next key thing to remember when you're watering is how often to water. So you need to water deep and infrequent. This is going to encourage your roots to go deeper in the ground instead of staying shallow up in the top where it has greater chance of drying out. So the best way to water deep and infrequent is to water about every 3 days. So this means if you're watering schedule, you're going to water on a Monday, and then you're probably going to water on a Thursday. So on that Melnor timer that I have, I'm going to show you guys how I've set it up to water every 3 days, because this is going to keep the watering deep and infrequent. It's going to give the ground time to dry out in between waterings, which is going to keep that grass kind of more hardy and make it more drought tolerant. So next time you have a drought, your lawn is not constantly tolerant on you being able to water. It will be more able to withstand a deeper drought. So without further ado, let's go take a look at how I have my timer set up, how I have my sprinklers running, and then we'll conclude the video up over here. Okay guys, so let's program this timer. So first of all, as you can see, we're off right now. Next, it's going to tell me the time. It's currently 2:04 on Saturday, water day. I have this set to every 3 days for each zone, which is then going to tell me when I switch that zone 4 is going to start at 6 a.m., 2:30, 3:30, because those zones are running for 60 minutes each. This next zone is running for 90 minutes, so it's 4:30. This final zone is starting at 6. This is cycle A. You can put cycle B, C, and D on here if you wanted different cycles for different weather patterns. Next here, zone 4, 70 minutes, 60, 60, as you can see, 90, and then the last one's going for 70. We're sitting up here. It's currently 2:04 on Saturday, and it will tell me the next start time, which is 2:30 on Tuesday. because that is 3 days from today, and that will tell me when this Melnor timer is going to run. So that's the current setup I have going on this Melnor timer. Without further ado, let's finish off the video here, and that's how my sprinklers are running. By the way guys, we got snow yesterday, which was actually our first precipitation that we had received in over 3 weeks. And I mean, the grass liked it. It's long, but I don't know if I liked it. So thank you guys for watching this episode of the Great Green North. I hope this helped you. As far as it comes down to anything with irrigation, you need to do that tuna can challenge or that rain gauge test to test how long it's taking to get down a ½ inch. It's not about the time that it takes for the sprinkler to put it down. There's no simple rule to run it for a specific amount of time because of the differing and water pressure between different houses. So this is why we tell you to take the tuna can challenge and get everything set up. Overall, irrigation system, it's awesome. I love it. I would do it again. Everything's working great. And we had to use it quite a bit last week, and there were some problems, but I got all the kinks worked out. Folks, when it comes to irrigation, a lot of these companies, when they install, they set your timer and then they say it's good, you don't have to touch it. I don't really like to do that. As you can see, I'm not going to set up that timer to run every 3 days. Even though I can, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come out, check the soil moisture, decide if I need to run the irrigation. That's the most efficient way to do it, and that's probably the most useful way to do it, because you're only running the irrigation when you need to run it, and that's what I like to do. And if you guys are into lawn care stuff, that's what I encourage you guys to do too, because it really works well. Running the irrigation system only when you need to is honestly probably the best way to do it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video helped you. If you guys have any more irrigation questions, leave them down below, or questions about watering your lawn. I might do another video about watering your lawn just with a regular sprinkler, because I still do that in my front yard and a side yard over here. So in the Great Green North, my name is William Murray. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, keep it green.